Showtime, baby.
So happy you all are with us. Prayer hands, thank you. So happy everyone's here for After Drill Monday edition. Post World Cup hangover is really upon us now. I mean, we're both in a very dark place as we bid farewell to the World Cup 2018. Really excited about 2019's World Cup.
Saw a perfect tweet yesterday. It's basically saying, "Oh no, the World Cup is over. I'm sorry that my time as a soccer fan has ended." Somebody said, "Well, actually, you can watch the Champions League." He said, "Oh no, NFL preseason football. Let's go."
Oh yeah,
that's all we're looking forward to at this point.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, my desire to watch soccer is nil, which is the term apparently they use for zero.
That is, yes.
And it remains the same. Right. I know a lot of people kind of caught the fever this time around.
I'll be honest with you.
Maybe the United States not qualifying is the trick.
Right, maybe that is. I didn't watch any of it until yesterday because I was at work and it was on TV. We had some people come in and watch it, so basically I just screamed goal as loud as I could for as long as I could every time I saw somebody score.
Well, you got 6 goals, so
yeah.
you were very active.
I was very active. I think by about the third one, people got the idea and were starting to get annoyed.
Were annoyed by you?
Nonetheless.
Goal screaming?
Yes.
Such is the case.
Yes.
So the World Cup's over. Wimbledon is over. Very anticlimactic finales. After semifinals that were full of such drama and marathon matches, you get these 2 final matches that both just go straight sets. Serena, I guess if you want to call it upset, she was the lower seed, but Angelique Kerber wins Wimbledon for the women's side. Novak Djokovic makes reasonably easy work of Kevin Anderson, who I don't know how he had energy left after that marathon session with Isner in the semifinals. But so Wimbledon's done. World Cup is done.
And Serena honestly made it farther than I think a lot of people thought she would.
She defied a lot of expectations.
She just came back from the pregnancy and all that.
I feel like after she got through the quarters, I think people thought, okay, well, she's going to go win this whole thing because there was, the top 10 was all gone, and people thought, oh, man, Serena's going to go get it.
An unfortunate end for her. I know I watched a little bit of it, and basically the tennis guys were saying that Kerber was one of the worst matchups she could have gotten in that scenario.
Very good.
Obviously, just not giving up a point, nothing, and I feel bad for Serena because the thing about tennis, much like the World Cup, that I hate, that's not like the case in the Super Bowl or the college football playoff or anything like that, is after you lose a championship like that, you have to stand out there and be awarded the second place trophy that no one cares. Serena could care less about second place Wimbledon.
Well, we talked about this on After Drill on Friday. I know you were out on Friday, but one of the things I couldn't wrap my brain around was Saturday morning's consolation game of the World Cup.
Yeah.
If you're those guys, if you're England and you're
who cares? Oh, I'm third instead of fourth. Whoop-de-doo-dah.
And Belgium is like, whoop-de-doo, I got the bronze medal.
It's almost just like
neato.
It's almost just like, oh well, guess what? The country and the fans get another day to booze and watch soccer.
Pretty much.
That's really what it is. Oh no. This could be the end.
Either the printer's about to explode or someone's printing something right now. You're part of it here, so you're our witness. If we go down, it was a setup. So now we turn our attention. The Major League Baseball is at the All-Star break. Drew, we had the Futures game last night, a.k.a. it was like a meat market for prospective Manny Machado trades. Seemingly everybody on display in the Futures game last night has somehow been linked to a Manny Machado trade rumor
no kidding,
in the last few weeks. So Machado, you feel like, is going to get dealt here, maybe sooner rather than later. I mean, they may push it to the deadline trying to hammer the details out, but
I'm
by
telling
all accounts,
you, though, that if you wait too long, people know that you need to get rid of them. You're going to end up not getting the return that you want. So I think they need to do it here. But now, they're getting to the point where teams are starting to know, they're desperate to move Machado.
They are. They're 40 games out. Nothing's happening. Everybody knows they're going to move Machado. Now it's just, now it's a matter of you're playing chess against your trade partner. You're trying to get everything you can get. And by all accounts, the front runners right now appear to be the Phillies and Brewers for the services of Machado. You feel like that would be a rental. I don't see him re-signing long-term in either of those places.
No.
So you would feel like that's a rental. Of how that affects the asking price, I don't know. We'll see.
You never know, though. A lot of people said the same thing about when the Mets traded Fulmer to the Tigers for Cespedes. They obviously ended up signing Cespedes long-term. So you don't ever really know, but Machado seems pretty dead set on the idea of potentially playing for the Yankees at some point.
Well, and Machado is a Boris guy. Is going to hit the market. He's not going to sign before the end of the season. He's not going to sign before going through the free agency process. He's going He's going to meet with teams. He's going to listen to offers. He's going to see what the market dictates before he decides where he's going to play. And yeah, you feel like just based off of what you've seen the last couple of weeks, that the Yankees are his preferred destination, whether it's in a trade this year or as a free agent in the offseason.
And by the way,
like he wants to be a New York Yankee, and why not? They need another bat desperately. They don't have anyone in that lineup that scares you. Wait, I'm sorry, the whole lineup is loaded with guys that scare you to death. So
the thing about and the Yankees, I mean, look, I'm annoyed with the Yankees all the time because I hate them. But I'm really annoyed with the fact that they want to go out there and they talk about making these trades, the deals for DeGrom or Syndergaard or Machado, and then they're like, well, we're not giving away any of our top guys. Well, these are top players in baseball, you idiots. Right. You got to give it away if you want them.
You got to give somebody up. You got to give it. Look, it's just like when the I hate to draw it back to my team again, but this takes me back to 2016. Back in 2016, thank you, Rick. Back in 2016, when the Cubs were feeling like they were contending, and obviously I follow the Cubs a lot closer than I do any other team because they're my club, much like you with the Mets. But they felt like they were close, and the one glaring hole they had was they couldn't rely on Hector Rondon at the back end of the bullpen closing games. They needed a closer. The best closer on the market at the time was Aroldis Chapman.
So
they gave up their blue chip. Look, this isn't a surprise. The Cubs knew what Gleyber Torres was when they shipped him to the New York Yankees for a half-season rental of Aroldis Chapman. They also had no desire of re-signing Chapman. They knew exactly what they were getting into.
But guess what? When you
got to give to get.
When you get a chance at a World Series, that's what you do. You give
shoot
it up
for the brass ring, and sometimes you got to give a big piece up to get a big piece back.
It makes no sense not to do so because look,
you got to get on.
Look at the Mets in 2015. Basically, they do these things, and they're in the World Series, and you're like, all right, well, guess what? Even if they don't win the World Series this year, you think, well, they still got that rotation, the Syndergaard, DeGrom, Matz, Harvey. Well, guess what, Wheeler? That rotation made it healthy through for the Mets. Not until this year, by the way. It's 2018. They didn't go through the rotation healthy one time until 2018, and it all fizzled out. And the Mets have done nothing since then besides make that wild card game where they lost to the Giants. They haven't done anything. So that's why when you think you have a shot at a World Series, it doesn't matter what you don't want it. You got to go try to get it because the Yankees really, honestly, if the Yankees went and gave up top-level prospects and got DeGrom, they're World Series favorites.
Well, certainly, yeah.
Or if they go and they get Machado.
Well, it's the American League's tough, but certainly they notch ahead of the Red Sox there in the East, and they're on par with the Astros as far as being the real power teams in the AL.
I get that it's tough to give up guys like that, but
it's hard.
You got a shot, you got to go for it.
It was a kick in the nuts when my Cubs gave up Gleyber Torres to get Aroldis Chapman. I knew what it was. It was a half-season rental, and you were giving up your number one prospect. It hurt.
Yeah.
Everybody knew. If you followed the team and you read the guys that follow the minor league system, everybody knew Gleyber Torres was a stud.
Right.
This was a legit blue chip. This was a 5-tool guy. This was the man coming through the system, but this was the cost. You want to go get a guy who's going to close down games and get you over the top, you got to give up pieces, and that's where the Yankees are at. If you want to go get Jacob deGrom, you're talking about a guy you get 2 more years who's 30 years old, who's at the top of his game. You got to give up a piece.
Yeah.
You can't go get him for bits and pieces
No.
for 10 cents on the dollar. You need to go spend. You got to spend money to make money, as the old adage goes. And the currency now is players. And you can't just spend hopes and dreams, prospects on guys. You gotta send dudes who can play to get dudes can play. Sam says, I can't remember. Did Baselli say he was at the Louvre or the Louvre? I believe he was in the Louvre at the Louvre. Sam, I believe, I believe Baselli snuck off to the bathroom at the Louvre, which those over there called the Louvre. We're crossing lines here, the French and the English. But Baselli was at the Louvre this morning when we caught up for him on Breakfast with Baselli, as Tony has extended his one-day work trip to London into a 3-week European vacation. It's incredible.
He started it all.
He's incredibly bamboozled whoever is financing this trip into making it seem like he needs a whole family vacay. He's got his kids at the Louis Vuitton store. I'm sure he's expensing that back to somebody. It's a hot mess. No, we love Big Bo. We appreciate him joining us because it was topical conversation. As Big Bo is knocking on the door to the Hall of Fame. He's been in that final group.
Really thought this year was his
We
year.
thought maybe he'd get through this year. You feel like maybe next year or the year after he's getting votes and the arguments are being made, the cases are being made.
He's gonna get in. It's just a matter of when.
And the reason it was topical is because Big Bo falls into a similar class as Terrell Owens in that he's a guy who, when he finally gets the call, if he gets the call, it will be after a reasonably lengthy wait.
Mm-hmm.
And Baselli has now waited several years of being eligible for the Hall, and he's been a few years now of getting into that final 15 group for the vote, and he hasn't cracked the nut. But Baselli, when and if he gets the call, he's gonna get on that plane to Canton. He's gonna be part of that. T.O. has chosen not to be part of that. He's said he'd rather go to UT Chattanooga and have a celebration in his alma mater. He's finally been a little more forthright about it, say he's doing it to send a message to the Hall for not just himself, but other guys who had to wait, who he felt were deserving. He referenced Jerry Kramer as a guy who took a long time to get the call. But again, my counter to that has always been this choice that Owens is making right now. He's alienating the people that aren't responsible for who gets into the Hall and who does not. The guys that are at the Hall of Fame induction in Canton on that hot summer day are not the guys who vote for the Hall of Fame. These are your peers. These are your brothers. This is the fraternity, the lifelong fraternity, the Hall of Fame.
There's nothing he's going to say that's
the guys that are there. They didn't vote.
Yeah.
They didn't vote in. They just welcome you with open arms once you're in. They never talk about how long it took. They just talk about that you're one of them. You're part of the brotherhood, and the brotherhood is for life. The Hall of Fame brotherhood. And he's choosing to not participate with that. And that's his choice.
Yeah.
That's his decision to make. But don't try to, prop yourself up as some kind of martyr, or that you're going up on some kind of crusade for guys that had to wait. Nobody talks about how long guys had to wait. You're either a Pro Football Hall of Famer or you're not. Nobody cares that it took him a little while. It doesn't matter. And it didn't take T.O. that long. Look, I agree. Numbers-wise, T.O. was a first ballot Hall of Famer. So what? It took him to the third ballot. So what? Sometimes it takes a little while. Sometimes you run up against a stacked class and it's just tough. You can't crack the vote. They don't take everybody. There's a limit on how many guys they're going to take. Sometimes you don't get in.
There's a little bit more of a allure to, he was a first ballot Hall of Famer. But really after that, it's nothing. And again, like you said, it's either you're a Hall of Famer or you're not. And now he's done this. And look, there's nothing that T.O.'s going to say that's going to make me think that this move is okay. It's really all about him. He can say whatever he wants to say about doing it for other guys and this and that. He's basically, what he's done now is he's taken this Hall of Fame class, and it's always going to be, people are going to look back and it's going to be like, oh, remember that class when T.O. got in and he wouldn't go to the ceremony.
Right.
And that's what he's done. He's made it all about himself, like he's always done.
He's alienated these guys that are his peer group.
Really all he's done is all the people who said, well, this guy's got character issues and I don't know if I'd want him in the Hall because of this and that and all that. Really all he's doing is proving them all right, because the second they put the guy in, he goes and throws basically a temper tantrum and does this. So,
Adam, I'm not sure if you're referring to bands or if this is some kind of loose commentary on Drew and I. I'm not sure which one of us would be slightly stupid and which one of us would be stick figure, but I'll take slightly stupid, because if one of us is going to be stick figure, it's going to have to be Drew, if that's the only thing. He's a freaking big baby.
Yeah.
Yes, not to be confused with Big Baby Stroud.
Sure.
Not like that. He is acting like a big baby.
We know Big Baby Stroud is a fan of the show. He watches it all the time.
Huge fan of the show. Both literally and figuratively.
Indeed.
Huge fan of the show.
Literally.
And I was big on T.O. getting this call to the Hall. I felt like T.O. is a Hall of Famer. His numbers dictate that he's a Hall of Famer. His play dictated he was a Hall of Famer. He stood up in big moments, made big plays.
Played in the Super Bowl with a broken ankle.
Right, he did these things, and he had and by the way, the theatrics were part of it. A lot of it was very harmless. Yes, it was very look at me, but that's the wide receiver position a lot of the times.
Yes,
is look at me.
To say that he didn't make your team much better
he was a great player, and he made plays, and I didn't mind a lot of his antics because most of it was good natured and fun. The popcorn stunt was fun. The stupid doing sit-ups in your driveway thing was funny. The hyperbaric chamber thing was funny. It's just T.O. being weird. But this is stupid. This is your moment. This is your time to stand up there at that podium and talk about all the people who doubted you on national television and call them out. But instead, you're going to go down to UT Chattanooga and nobody's going to show it on TV. And I know you say you don't care, but absolutely do care, T.O. Don't say you don't. Everybody knows you do. You care about this stuff. And you should.
Mm-hmm.
You should. And he should be there.
Yeah.
And it's disappointing that he's not going to be there. I don't even know what team he's going to go in representing. I would guess the Cowboys, but yeah, it's a
Yes, we'll see.
That's a dumb move.
Yeah.
I don't know. Kind of dawn of a new era here on the drill today. Shift in the clocks and also the start of a new segment. As Friday we bid farewell to ETN and bid hello to WTF. The new WTF era unloaded. I'm not sure what that means, Michael, that I'm channeling my inner Jeff right now.
What does that mean?
I don't know. Does it mean I'm angry? I don't feel
really know.
angry.
Would you take that necessarily as a compliment?
I don't know. I mean, I'd like to only work 4 hours a day, so I'd love to channel my inner Jeff. That's
dear.
truth and jest. Yeah, but WTF debuted. It's off to an okay start. I think we need to iron out the details. When we do these new bits on the show, man, it's always a collaborative effort. We always like the feedback from the Googans, good and bad. We take your input. We always welcome. It's an interactive show. The Googans have contributed so much to the show throughout the years. I mean, more times than not, the Googans are responsible for musical choices and,
Sure.
like Dan's intro music a lot of times comes from the Guggen suggestions that I think are pretty outstanding. So, when you listen to the WTF segment, hit us up. Let us know what you think. We always want to hear back from the Googans. We like it. We're trying to change things up a little bit, make it a little different, make it a little more interactive.
Keep things fluid.
And, if you like it, great. If you don't, let us know why. It's channeling my inner Jeff is when I shoot 120 on the golf course. If that's channeling your inner Jeff, because Jeff's actually pretty good at golf. So if 120 is a pretty good day for you, God bless you, man, because you must lose a lot of golf.
No.
I'm more like a right around a hundo guy on the golf course. Like if I go south of 100, I feel like I had a really good day. When I usually play with Mike Dempsey because he's the only one who calls me to play golf.
Sure.
Shout out to Jeff on that one. But the
Damn you, Jeff.
if I go south of a hundo, I feel like I had a great day. That's what I feel like I'm really channeling my inner Jeff because I'm playing golf on a weekday and breaking 100. That's what I feel like I really channel my inner Jeff. Had a couple lists that really got people rankled up today, Drew. The first list was the Monday Morning Quarterback was ranking the top. I don't know what they ranked it to, but we were going through the top 10 teams in the NFL as a power ranking, like a preseason power ranking that they've updated. And it became a point of contention as we were going through it. It was more of a pop quiz. We were trying to identify the teams. And Lauren and I both suggested the Minnesota Vikings. And your dad kind of poo-pooed it. And then they weren't on the list. They weren't in the top 10. They were like 12th. They were 12th, I think. Yeah, I think 12th or 13th were the Vikings.
Wow.
And
that's pretty surprising.
I don't get that. The Jags were 3, by the way.
All right, I'll take that.
But if I don't understand how
I
a
think
team,
though if the Jags are 3, then the Vikings got to be in the top 5, right?
I don't follow the Vikings super closely, but
you get Dalvin Cook back and
you're
get
getting
Kirk
Dalvin
Cousins.
Cook back. You've upgraded at quarterback. You still have that world class defense. I don't get it. We're talking about your bogus Monday morning quarterback list, Dan. It's perfect timing.
You son of a! I ought to just.
I nailed it, man. You know who didn't nail it? You know who didn't nail it?
What?
The Monday morning quarterback. That's who didn't nail it. By not having the Vikings in the top 10, it was poor.
Oh, that list.
No, not your
I thought you were
coach's
talking about my
list.
college coach's
No,
list.
the Monday morning
What's your
quarterback
college
list.
coaches list?
That was a bad list.
That was a great
What'd
list.
you do?
That was a
What
bad
have you
list.
done?
What do you mean?
That was
Did
a list
you listen to the show? Didn't you do your assignment? Or
Yeah,
you just
oh yeah.
roll in
No,
here?
yeah, I listened. Oh,
Well,
yeah.
then you would have heard the
Listen
list.
to the whole thing.
That was the list that declared Army's coach as the best coach in the country.
Oh, okay.
I believe they had Herbs 14, had Dabo Swinney
Who was
12.
dead last?
Nick
Who was dead
Saban dead last. Is that kind of list we're dealing with right
Nick
now?
wasn't high on the list though.
What?
It was always
Who was dead last?
who was dead last?
130th in the country for the job he did last year.
For the job he did last year.
Yeah.
I didn't catch that part.
Yeah,
I think-
Jimbo.
Jimbo.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh, suddenly it's not
So
a
now
bad
Drew
list.
thinks it's a great list.
It's a great list.
It's
I
a
love
fantastic
it.
list. Oh, go Army.
So basically, it's going off the fact how Jimbo never won ACC Coach of the Year because they're just well, he's at Florida State and he's got all these pieces. So that's basically how the list is going. With
Adam
if
says
Nick-
you know it.
Oh my god,
Adam.
great. But basically, they're saying if you got a bunch of talent, then you can't be a good
You
coach.
can't be a good coach because it's just you stick the key in the ignition.
Okay.
How'd the podcast go, Dan?
Podcast was excellent. Had an excellent insight from Frank Frangie up in Atlanta, SEC Media Days. I guess they're doing their show there later today live. Jimbo goes today, by the way. Dan Mullen rolls in tomorrow. It's in Atlanta now, which is interesting.
Which, I mean, if you're the media attending SEC Media Days, has to be just a huge win, right?
Oh,
to,
God.
to leave Behan behind and head up
So-
to Atlanta.
Yeah, and by the way,
Huge win.
If I'm and they drove, I would have flown because it's just a hop, skip, and a jump. Get on that first flight this morning, right up there, and you're.
They
good
took
to
the
go.
1010XL jet up at
Yeah,
a cruising speed of about 68 miles an hour.
68.
Well, Smiling Tom Fridley was driving, so probably more like 64.
dear.
Maybe we should start giving these away, hiding these things.
Hiding these things.
These little fobs.
The fobs.
Oh.
They are valuable, Dan. I've heard that they're upwards of $10 if you lose them.
By the way, we just had a suggestion that we need a Dan and Jeff a fight outside the window during after
Good.
drill.
During after
right
drill?
next to Velvet Elvis.
Well, not us. You and Jeff fight each other.
I know.
Not go on. We're out of this.
Your guy Jeff.
He's crazy.
I kind of felt.
Oh, they're calling for the fireball now. They want live.
Ah.
They want live video evidence.
We've encouraged the Googans to give us feedback on WTF as it's kind of a work in progress. And
We probably shouldn't have done that yet. Let it
Let it
ferment.
Let it
like a
marinate.
bad wine for a couple of weeks. And
it is
then
like a
make-
bad wine.
Yeah.
The feedback came in fast and furious on
Not
the text
good.
line today.
Yeah.
Some of it was bad. Some people just don't like change, though, Dan. So I want
I
to give
know.
it time. You
Give
know?
it time, and if it goes bad, we'll go back.
That's a promise.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work, we'll boot it to the curb like the Bizarro Power Rankings.
Yes.
We'll kill it.
That was a bad move on your part. That's because you got your feelings hurt. And you
I did.
acted like a
Because I put a lot of work into it.
blank right.
I put a lot of work into
Yeah,
it.
and you threw a little hissy
I did.
because the open was terrific.
It was.
You made a wonderful open. Jeff's
Played once.
idea was stupid, and once again it was poorly
Put a
executed.
lot of
by
Jeff slander on
by
today's after
Jeff.
drill, by
It
the
really
way.
has been. Too.
We
You weren't here for all the
It's been 20
Jeff
minutes
slander.
of Jeff slander.
Has it?
It's been
Yes.
amazing.
Sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, and that's why with WTF, I mean, maybe it's poor form on my part as a professional, but that's why I basically took a hands-off approach. Said, I don't know, do whatever you want.
You're still bitter about the open that you created
I really
5
am.
years ago.
5 years ago, I'm still mad.
All right, I'm
I'll get
leaving.
over it one day, Dan. We
All
love
right,
you, buddy.
boys.
We'll see you in the
Thanks
morning.
for having me for after the drill.
You're welcome.
Yes.
How many times did Jeff come on after the drill?
That one time he walked by and said something.
That's it?
Yeah.
Stood right there.
Yeah.
That's all we
Not in
got.
his contract. Where's his check? Little Yao. Little Yao here
Little
for a
Yao.
visit. Hello, Yao.
How are you?
Oh, hello.
Oh dear.
I don't know.
Oh
I don't know if
no.
I'd go with that.
I didn't say anything. I said hello.
Hello.
Oh dear. Hello.
How you doing this, Dan? You're being
Who's
being a real butthole right
Who's
now.
this?
Real butthole. That's the other. We haven't got into that
We
yet.
haven't even got into that.
That's the best part.
Bury the lead. buried it.
If we could put a live poll on after drill, we would now because of Jeff's.
Maybe I'll ask
Wild
for your
claim.
suggestions. Jeff made the claim today that the evolution of what's acceptable language-wise has changed. What you
Sure.
hear said on cable TV, especially, is all bets are off. And Jeff has made the claim or the proclamation that the word a-hole is not terribly offensive, but that he's more uncomfortable when he hears the word butthole.
Just out of curiosity, if somebody called you a butthole as opposed to an a-hole, you're telling me that you'd be more offended?
I understand where he's coming from. In
I
that
do.
when you hear the term a-hole, immediately you think, well, that guy's a jerk. But when you hear the word butthole, your brain almost by default pictures one.
Sure, so I can understand why maybe you're quote-unquote more disgusted, you're more uncomfortable, but more...
And I think that's the only point he's trying to make.
Okay.
Is that it stirs a little bit more of a
I guess, obviously, because, a-hole has become, like you said,
Right.
it's basically calling someone a
Dude,
jerk.
put on
so-
FX after like 8 p.m. You will be astonished at what you hear if you don't
Sure.
already watch the network.
Sure.
I read somebody told me they put on FX. They put on Deadpool with their kid in the room because
Right.
they figured, well, it'll be all edited, so they're not really watching.
Right.
And they got about 10 minutes into Deadpool, and it's full uncut. I mean, it's all out there.
Oh, and
it's
the
like,
kids-
turn the channel.
The kids were watching. No, dear.
The talent has left the building. Marty, well, feel free to not watch, Marty.
Come on, Marty. What's
Marty?
wrong with you?
Good luck going back to the
Do
future,
you know?
Marty.
Do you know how this show has been built off the brand that we are?
I hope you get zapped by 1.21 gigawatts, Marty.
I'm gonna send this beeping printer your way, Marty. I don't know what's wrong with it, but
Marty! That was my Doc Brown. Doc Brown. Shockingly, Christopher Lloyd, who's doing nothing right now, said he'd be very excited to be part of a Back to the Future Part 4 if they did it.
Okay. Wow.
I gotta feel like
Big news.
getting Michael J. Fox out of that one. Shaky at best. That'll do it for
Oh
us.
my God.
After Joel, back tomorrow. Bye, Googans.